Okay, I didn't feel like making any sort of actual like GIFs and other like textual commentaries because I don't know, it takes a little while, and I figured that it would be kind of cool to try my hand at just talking it out because, you know, talking is healthy. Being in customer service and sales, that is just a good general skill to develop. So yeah, we're just going to be talking it out, explaining my thoughts as best as I can to improve my ability to explain thoughts as best as I can. Okay, so when it comes to laning phase, it's pretty straightforward. Obviously, the main objective is stack the ghouls, or stack the graves in this case. Don't fight Camille while her shield is up, so just walk away as soon as possible. Every Camille is going to do the same exact thing. She tries to push you in because she has to get her level 2 like ASAP so that she can get her grapples, so that she can try and level 2 all in you, like so. Same exact thing every game, so just don't even fail to see that one coming. I did raise my ghouls just because sometimes they'll aggro at the same time as minions do. If you play it back, you'll see that when Camille dove me, I raised ghouls at that time. And yeah, the minion aggro and ghoul aggro act very similarly to one another. I'm really not worried about smaller trades, just because Yorick actually has a really high sustain rate. Unlike Darius, who depends on actually hitting champions with it, Yorick, just if he hits anything with his Q, be it a plant, a ward, who knows what, if he hits something with his Q, he gets health for it. Ordinarily, I don't recommend fighting behind the minion wave. However, with Ivern up here, I was like, well, you know, what could it hurt? It would be a really... there wasn't really any way for her to trade back into it. As always, just try and stack the ghouls. Camille's trying to sneak around for Ivern. I think I did see her on a ward, but honestly, I couldn't care less. Because she can't 100 to 0 Yorick. That's just, you'd have to let her get so wildly out of control that it would just be unreasonable, at which point you have to wonder if you're just in a smurfing division. So I wish I had gotten more ghouls on this trade, because if I did, I would have definitely been able to kill her. As it was, I wasn't really sure if I was going to be able to do enough damage, so just back off. I heal up a lot. She does too with how her Q operates, but I was just... I know that I would be able to sustain up if we should get back into combat. Man, I missed so much CS. Oh gosh. Okay, missed a bunch of CS, also didn't raise all 3 ghouls at once. Interesting fun fact, your ghoul raising radius is something you have to keep in mind whenever you're raising them, because it won't permit you to raise ghouls until you have 3 ghouls within your radius. Or, excuse me, 3 graves within your radius. So the thing about that is that you can raise when you get that ability to raise the ghouls from the gravestones, it does actually remain available to you for up to, like, I don't know, a second after you leave the radius where all 3 of them would be. And what I'm saying by that is basically just, it's possible to only raise 2 ghouls if you activate... Oh jeez, yeah, this is bad. I wanted to turn this fight around by getting my minions to aggro on her, so it actually did kind of work. You see how much health I get back from Qs. So she took, I don't know, somewhere around like 50, maybe 100 damage or something. That, on the other hand, was a really bad trade for me. I had to be very careful. I didn't want to feed her, you know, a kill or nothing. and that was just very poorly played. This is where everything goes wrong. Yeah, she has dangerous games, so she got a bunch of health. She has her regeneration from her Q. Twisted Fate decided that fight didn't go poorly enough, so he figured, you know, he'd just add his body to the pile. Her passive came up right in time to be able to get the magic shield, so she lives with, you know, some 2 hit points. So at this point, I'm dealing with a 3-0 Camille. That's what every top laner wants to play against. I didn't want the minions to crash into the tower. I needed to make sure that I was going to be able to get all of this creep wave. If you look down at the CS bar, you can see that she's horrible at CSing. To be fair, at this point, Ivern has already ganked 3 times, so he has kind of zoned her off of the CS quite a bit, but that still, regardless, means that I have a huge experience lead against her. Okay, so as you can see, I'm not too worried about burst champions. That's never been a big issue for Yorick. Camille, like I said, can't 100 to 0 Yorick. So with the Maiden, with how much passive damage she deals, he would be able to take her down in a straight one-on-one fight from 100 hit points to 0. Yorick wins for a long time, actually. Now, with what just happened right there, I don't know. I just completely lost my marbles. Decided that I would try and dive her. I severely underestimated how much damage Camille can actually put out. And more importantly, her engage range. That's probably the biggest thing that I did wrong there, was I didn't respect how long distance she is. Things are not going too well on the scoreboard. Twisted Fate got first blood, but they have gotten 6 after that point. And it is unfortunate too. You know, at this point, I actually, if you back up, you'll see that Ivern was at Krug's. I actually told Ivern, go ahead and ignore top because I have it covered. I've played enough Yorick to know his damage output very well, and I told him there's no need to come back top lane. I don't need the help. It's not that I thought he would, you know, feed my lane or anything like that. It's quite simply he would just be wasting his time. That's what it comes down to. I noticed on the minimap that Ivern had done a couple of camps, so free red buff, and then I look down yonder and see free blue buff, so don't mind if I do. There's no reason to go back top at this point because it's on Camille's side. She's just going to end up zoning me off of CS. So, free red buff, free blue buff. I see that mid's pushed out fairly significantly. Looks like Twisted Fate actually ended up just solo killing him, so it's completely unnecessary. Just gonna go back top lane. I've got double buffs. I have Maiden relatively soon, but obviously you gotta respect Camille. I didn't want to go out too far because if she engages me with all those minions that she's got next to her, I would just either die or be taken down to like maybe a 4th hit points. So it was just a good idea to make sure that I let the minion wave actually come to me this time. I didn't see Camille, wasn't really sure what she was doing. I was expecting a roam, but it's kind of hard to tell sometimes. She engages on me because she knows she's fed, figures she can take me on. I, in turn, was able to gauge how much burst damage she has, because she got me with pretty much her full combo there. So I know, okay, in her full combo, she's able to take me down to maybe a 3rd health, something like that, right? That is plenty. First off, when he's under half hit points, Yorick gets twice as much health. And this, okay, she engages on me, and I just melt her. Vi came, decided to give me a double kill, because she also severely underestimated how much damage I can do. She doesn't have flash. I don't know she has no flash, but either way, I know, again, how much damage Yorick can put out. So, at this point, I have very crucially turned around my lane, and that was a 100-0 Camille who didn't miss any skill shots. Like, oh, by the way, she can see the ghoul, by the way, just sitting out there behind the other side of the bush. Fun fact of the day. Anyways, Camille didn't miss anything. That's the real thing here, is that even though she was 4-0 and I was 0-2, as long as she can't 100 to 0 Yorick, even with her attack speed steroids, she can't kill Yorick faster than he can kill her with 4 ghouls and the maiden. This was bad. I should have teleported way sooner. I just underestimated how quickly she would push the wave. I don't know what she's doing at this point. Maybe she's trying to respond to rage or something. I didn't see Camille, so you'll see that I was spam pinging for mid lane to be careful. This is solo queue after all, and I don't know if he's going to actually listen to me after just one ping. It's not for BM. It's just a simple matter of I don't know that he's actually gonna listen. I go over and clear out her pink ward because with 4 ghouls, Yorick can 1v1 pretty much everyone. She does not respect that at all. So, well, quite simply, I decided to go ahead and capitalize on her mistake. So yeah, in terms of how to play against Yorick, don't fight him when he's got ghouls up. They do so much stinking damage. I think right now the ghouls are at somewhere around 100 AD each, which means that Camille, who is not building any armor, is taking most of that damage. I mean, that's something like 80 or 90 damage per second per ghoul. They do a ridiculous amount of damage. Well, okay, no, that's not how the math works on that one. But you get what I'm saying. That's just, it's a lot, okay? A lot of hurt coming in from the ghouls, so you really can't underestimate that. Now, I don't know where Camille is. After getting a good feel for what her engage range is from before, I just decided, you know, it's not worth staying around. I might have been able to stack enough ghouls to be able to win a fight with her, but with her ult up and everything else, I just don't want to risk it. I'm already ahead of her in CS, and I am almost in the same range with her when it comes to kills, which means that gold-wise, we're actually pretty much on the same footing, actually. Now, this is actually something I was paying attention to in the game. I mean, I could have considered teleporting over there, but I don't have teleport available to me. There's a bajillion minions underneath my creep wave, so obviously I can't just ignore that. So it was unfortunate timing on that end of it, because Camille pushed it in and then roamed down to join the fight. But this is a great part. Okay, so Camille's fed, and right here. Oh, that's just money. At this point, I'm definitely fed myself. I'm doing tons of damage. I don't know if you read this in Yorick's actual information bio. Oh yeah, she totally goofed. So I don't know if you read this, but Yorick does percent health damage to whatever his maiden is attacking. He does bonus percent health damage. That applies to towers. It says so in the description, unless they change it, but at the moment, it also applies to structures and other objectives. So that's one of the things that makes him such a great lane pusher, is the fact that he does tons of damage. Thresh got a little too close, was able to wall him in, keep him there for all of our ranged champions to be able to kill him, which I just want to point out, I'm the only melee champion on my team. Well, I mean, I guess me and Daisy, but you know how that is. So yeah, in this game, Camille definitely got to understand just how strong Yorick is. Chances are she's okay with Camille, but I wouldn't be too surprised if this player was basically just an OP abuser, someone who you know, hops on the bandwagon, says, "Wow, that champion's strong. I should probably play that one." So, think about Yorick. You don't want to commit to any sort of heavy fights without having ghouls up. Don't get me wrong, he has some decent base damage, but that's not what makes him strong. What makes him strong is his ghouls, his minions, his maiden, all that jazz. That's where he really comes into being a power player. I have maiden up. I wasn't really interested in chasing because it's not worth my time. I don't really think we can get our hands on Camille and Vi, just because they both have wall jumps. So, Maiden makes taking the Rift Herald super strong. Thresh gets a little too close, I can kill him. Unfortunately, the Rift Herald reset, so I have to start over again, but it dies just so fast because of the percent health damage that Yorick does. Twisted Fate's a dope, trying to take my Rift Herald buff, but nah brah. It's all big dogs. So, go back to top lane. Now I had considered, you know, maybe I should go back and buy, but the only reason to do that is just to keep the maiden from getting stuck in a lane. I have enough mana that it's not really a big deal. I use my trinket to see that Camille is coming over, so again, I just couldn't care less. She's not a threat to Yorick. I see GP there, now I see Thresh, so I know I'm in a little bit of trouble, but Camille, unfortunately, for her, underestimates his damage again. Can't really chase anyone here, because they're all kiting around, which is, I mean, that's what happens with Yorick. Stacked graves, always stack graves if you can, if you're planning on sieging. Minions take highest priority, or at least one of the highest priorities when it comes to tower aggro. Excuse me, not minions, but ghouls take high priority when it comes to tower aggro. So, especially if you get a cannon minion wave, then you can actually prolong the lifespan of your minion wave by a lot, just by having ghouls up available to you. I don't have mana for a wall, so I wasn't able to trap him in here. He instead gets greedy and, well, gets soloed by Morgana, actually. I play him a dirge, just mourn his loss. I wanted to get the blue buff with the ghouls, but towers take a higher priority. I noticed that the rest of their team was bot lane, so obviously the first thing I want to do is be objectively minded. Tower's down, now I'm gonna get my blue buff. Yorick uses tons of mana, so that was a good idea. In retrospect, I guess I might have wanted to consider helping out the team there, but that would have meant that I couldn't get my blue buff. Who would do such a thing? We were sieging that tower so long that I actually have Maiden available, and if you're just jungle farming, pull up your maiden. There's no reason not to. She follows you around the jungle and helps you clear camps very quickly. Just since I have blue buff, I can just spam abilities however I want, and then go back, clear out whatever else I really feel like clearing. There was a ward down there that I spotted, but I didn't really feel like taking the time to actually go and clear it out, especially since I don't know where their team is anymore. We want to make sure to maintain momentum. Thresh gets himself caught out. I miss every skill shot that I have, and decide to just chase him after it. Now, as I always recommend in my guides, you should always try and get a lot of CDR. It helps immensely. I don't know why Maiden follows me here, actually. Her AI is very unpredictable. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm always glad whenever the Maiden follows me, but it's just kind of strange. Usually whenever she sees a minion wave, she'll aggro onto it, and that's about all there is to say about that. I end up missing that CS there. Rest in peace, me. I pinged my team to go over to Dragon. You can see over in the chat box that I was asking for assistance, and then I said I was on my way. That's something that I do just as a split pusher, is I try to remind my team, by the way, I'm able to split push right now, which means that you guys can take power objectives. Camille's guarding the tower, so I don't really want to dive. Don't get me wrong, I can beat her in a fight, but probably not under tower, and especially not if her team comes. So I gotta make sure to just respect the distance. I've got a pretty healthy mana pool, and she does a little bit of poking, but it really doesn't matter. She doesn't know where all of my team is. If Twisted Fate ulted in to a fight, a 2v1 could prove pretty bad for her. The team did really well. I feel like I probably helped just by having a lot of map pressure, but I mean, I can't take all the credit. They definitely did well just on their own. Good old tanky Morgana. Ivern's shield is on such a stinking low cooldown, it's ridiculous. Also, our team has 2 redemptions on it. I hadn't noticed that before. Pushing waves, because I can, because there's really not much in the way of threats to me right now. I'm ridiculously fed. I've got Maiden coming up in about 10 seconds, so I'm not really worried about any small skirmishes. He pulls out Daisy, who's going to tank all the tower aggro at the moment. I probably should have pulled out the Maiden actually, but yeah, if I had pulled out Maiden, I probably would have killed Turret. Instead, we get in a scuffle, and even with a 4v or a 2v5, because Gangplank ulted. No, that was a 4v2. Even in a 4v2, I was fed enough to be able to still take someone down with me with Ivern's help. Enemy team trying to surrender, but apparently 3 of them decide that, well, it's ranked mode, so got nothing to lose by at least trying. But yeah, at this point I'm ridiculously fed. I can 1v2 most of them. I was pinging my team to say that I was gonna go bot lane, so I teleport in immediately, try and get them to, you know, communicate to them that all they need to do is pressure mid, don't get into a fight obviously, slap down my ZZ Rot, and then I was just gonna push down to the inhibitor and draw some team away so that they could take the mid tower, but they decided to get into fight instead. I noticed two of them over here in a small corridor, so I drop a wall. I think I got 2 flashes for that too. I'm pretty sure Gangplank flashed and then Thresh flashed or something like that. At this point, the game's pretty much over. I kind of tunnel vision on Jin here, but it works out. Ashe died for it, but I'm not really that worried. Maiden's up. Definitely gonna pull that out because we can just push to end here. Just using a zoning wall to keep people like Gangplank off of me. A lot of their team is very melee dependent. In fact, I guess Jin's really the only one who has any significant range. So yeah, that was a game in which I took over after losing to a fed Camille.